Oh, that too, mine too, yeah, between the cats, dogs, and.
Good to see you.
How's everything going?
It's going.
He's a cute little puppy.
Oh, and now he's in the diapers because he's incontinent.
How old is he?
15 and a
Oh,
half.
he's old, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but Dave's doing really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and laundry bags, DEP guy. Yeah. Sent me the permit. I just, existing one, and he gave me some other stuff, and anything you need, let me know.
Oh, shoot, do you need a minute? Good evening and welcome to the December 8th, 2022 Northampton County Council meeting. Mr. Cusick, will you lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Zembo, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Kuzic.
Here.
Mr. Giovanni.
Here.
Mr. Gofredo.
Here.
Mr. Heckman is running late. He should be here shortly. Mr. Lott.
Here.
Mr. Myers.
Here.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Here.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Here.
As I said before, they're all present except Mr. Heckman, who is running late.
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the minutes for December 1st, 2022 and November 29th, 2022 budget hearing. May I have a motion to approve these?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have courtesy of the floor protocol. We have two people signed in. You get 5 minutes each. And the first is Priscilla De Leon of Lower Saucon Township.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to provide comments to the council. My name is Priscilla De Leon. I'm a resident of Lower Saucon Township, Northampton County. I'm also on council in Lower Saucon Township, serving the Lower Saucon residents for over 33 years. I am speaking today as a resident, and I've lived in this county since 1985. I would like to speak on the Bethlehem landfill rezoning issue that's happening in the township. On October 16th, Bethlehem Landfill requested a zoning map and text amendments of parcels from Rural Agricultural Zoning District, the RA, to Light Industrial Zoning District, LI, in the areas of Apple Butter Road and Riverside Drive. There is a hearing for that on December 21st, Merry Christmas, at 6:30. At Town Hall. And then that was on October 16th, and they pretty much walked into the council, had it on the agenda. They prepared the text amendments and said, this is what we want. And so it got approved to be on a hearing for 12/21. Then on 11/16, they came back and they requested permission to discuss, if the amendments pass, the possibility of modifying the scenic and conservation easements to remove the use restrictions for landfills that currently exist in those documents. The EAC met and voted to not recommend. LVPC, I attended the workshop and the meeting back in October, and they provided a very thorough review and approved a letter not supporting the rezoning. I concur with their recommendations. The proposed text amendments do not align with the intent of the future of the Lehigh Valley, the regional plan. We all know about Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 27. It was my platform when I ran for office a million years ago, it seems. But it's still there, and I still respect it. The people have a right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. As elected officials, we are entrusted to protect these rights for future generations. Back when 33 was approved, that was when I was a baby, but it was approved back in 33. As a result of their environmental impact study, a survey form was prepared under Section 106 review. Reddington Steelworks Proving Ground, or the Reddington Historic District, was determined eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places under criteria A, which is nationally significant, by the keeper of the National Register, which is significant in itself. Shortly after I was elected in 1988, Congress designated only 3 areas in the country as National Heritage Corridors. How lucky were we to be one of them? I was so excited. I attended all the planning meetings held, and they urged all the municipal officials there that they should go back, and if you bordered the Lehigh River, you should make sure your zoning was appropriate to preserve the view shed along the river. Lower Saucon passed Resolution 1091, which is in your packet, which reads, let's see, Delaware and Lehigh Navigational Canal National Heritage Corridor Act of 1988 is to provide management framework to assist the Commonwealth and its political subdivisions in developing and implementing conservation and cultural programs and historic preservation. Whereas it is the opinion of the State Historic Preservation Officer that the properties of the Reddington Historic District, Lower Saucon Township, are eligible for listing in the National Register of Historic Places. Now therefore be it resolved, and it is hereby resolved by the Council of Lower Saucon to approve inclusion of these properties in the Reddington Historic District within the boundaries of the Delaware and Lehigh Navigational Canal National Heritage Corridor Act of 1988. So you have the resolution there. Somehow I found this book in my house. It's dated 1993, and it was the management plan developed by the people that were putting together, and this is back to 1993. So if anybody wants to look at it, you're more than welcome. In 1994, the city of Bethlehem and Lower Saucon Township agreed to place a restrictive easements for scenic and conservation purposes on the Reddington 142-acre, Helms 66-acre, and Woodland Protection Buffer 8 acres, and shall constitute a covenant running with all the property and shall be binding, as we all know how covenants are supposed to be. Then it goes on to say that, shall be binding, assuring the preservation of the Delaware and Lehigh Canal National Heritage Corridor and State Heritage Park. And it goes on to say, to preserve the original character and scenic nature of the land. LST insisted on not seeing landfill activities from the, and okay, so when they came in for another further expansion, if you were on the Delaware, the canal, and you looked across the river and you looked up, we didn't want people seeing the landfill. Oh, well, okay, so anyway, my concerns are we have important natural resources in the township. We've provided for protection in a lot of our documents. And I guess what I'm asking is for you to support and to care about our residents. You know, you have goals in your recreational programs and open space and your farmland preservation, just like we thought I did. And I just think we have a beautiful area that needs to be preserved, and let's see what we can do to help. So I guess is my time up now? Okay, thank you for letting me talk.
Thank you. Next, we have Victoria Optoff Cordero, Lower Saucon Township.
Thank you so much. I also have a packet, but I wasn't here as early as Priscilla, so I do have that here for distribution to
She'll give it
council,
up.
if I may.
Sorry.
So I'll just wait a minute until you have your packet so you can go through what's there.
Well, you could, don't. Don't waste your time.
Okay. If you started my clock, that's okay. So first, I do want to say thank you to everybody for allowing us to come here today. I am from Lower Saucon Township. I have been born and raised in Northampton County, and I have the pleasure to be a part of this county, and I thank everything that the council has done to preserve all of our natural and open spaces. I prepared a packet for you, which is mostly based upon your 2014 economic impact study that was done by the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission that discusses the value of air, water, and recreational spaces in Northampton County and within the Lehigh Valley. The first page of your packet is a landfill committee meeting notes from April of this year. And I just want to highlight that our landfill is a privately owned industry, which takes in 60 to 70% of out-of-state garbage. So I want to just point that out. You can see the first 3 pages are landfill committee meeting notes, which discuss the percentage of out-of-state garbage. I also want to note that all of the leachate, and forgive me if I pronounce that incorrectly, but it is the water that it goes through the garbage in the landfill. It is currently deposited in the Bethlehem Municipal Water Treatment Plant, which is on the corner of Apple Butter Road. So all of that goes into that treatment plant, and you all know that you pay for your waste and your water, and a lot of it goes to that location, part of Northampton County. Moving to the 4th page, I just highlight this specific section of the report, which discusses that the current green infrastructure along streams in Lehigh Valley reduce tax dollars by avoiding more than $10.3 million annually in expenditures. Natural areas provide over $22.4 million annually in pollination and $2.5 million in biological control. Natural areas provide $219.5 million annually in habitat for insects, birds, animals, and plants. Moving to the next page, you'll see how our air quality impacts our economic development. Air quality services provided by trees, removing pollutants in the estimated 48.2 million annually. So that's how much it saves us by keeping our green forested areas. Tree-covered open space stores 5,496,69 tons of carbon over the life of a current forest in the Lehigh Valley. Moving to the next is a map. That is a steep slopes map that was created by the study. The area that's highlighted in blue shows the corridor in which this proposed landfill is set to go on. If you're familiar with Freemansburg in Northampton County, Freemansburg connects to the Easton Canal, and there's a walking trail, biking trail, that connects Freemansburg to Easton and the Humor Park. That is the area that overlooks the area in which they would like to place a garbage dump. Map 12 is the natural heritage areas. You will again see I've highlighted the section of the Lehigh and Delaware Canal in which we have this landfill proposed. It involves core habitats within the Lehigh Valley that we have done so much to protect. And if you look at the map, we are only one of 2 along the entire Lehigh River. Map 9 is forest fragmentation. That shows the areas in which we still have forest. And again, we are one of 2 areas on the entire Lehigh River within this map that show forested areas. Turning to the next page, you'll see figure 9, watershed protection, cost compared to gray infrastructure. You'll see that wastewater treatment, which again takes all of the landfill water, costs $8 and $56 per pound in nitration. If you have forest, it costs a lot less. We are talking about 275 acres of land. Moving to the next slide, you'll see that you provided a chart which showed the dollars in which each type of protected area provides to our Lehigh Valley. I happened to do the calculation. We are talking about 275 acres of forested land that has a creek that runs through it on a steep slope. So in the category of forests, the amount of economic savings that this area provides to our Lehigh Valley is $357,255 annual dollars. If you move that to 2022 dollars, you're at $448,000 a year. Lastly, I wanted to note about the impact that this area has on our property home values. We've seen so much increase in our home values over the last few years, and I'm sure any of us who are property owners can appreciate that. This chart shows you how much our forests and our protected areas convert into property home value. So in closing, I want to say that we are here today not because we're residents of Lower Saucon only, but because we're a part of Lehigh Valley and we're a part of Northampton County. You have spent tremendous amounts of money to protect our open lands and to protect our walkways and our trailways. So I implore you to please do what you can to back the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission's letter and come to our council meeting on December 21st at 6:30 p.m. to support what they had to say. And if you can't come, we would really appreciate if you send one of your experts, somebody on the environmental committee, to come and speak about what this could mean to our township and all of Lehigh Valley. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, first time I became aware of this, hadn't read about it. Is this a curative amendment or just a request for a zoning change?
It is a text amendment, so our current zoning calls for this whole area to be rural agricultural, which is why it's protected by forest. The landfill purchased that land from Bethlehem a number of years ago, and they have submitted text amendments to the zoning map to request that the township approve rezoning it to light industrial. So it is a landfill request. They developed the text for December 21st. However, the township council has to hold a formal hearing to approve it. So on December 21st is the hearing that our council will be having to consider that request.
Yeah, the 275 acres is enormous. I guess my other question is there an ongoing negotiation as part of this to increase the host fee at any point? Or did they just say, we want this?
Priscilla can answer, so I will let Priscilla answer because she was at both meetings.
You know, and I know it's courtesy of the floor, but I think because this didn't get in a timely way to Tara's committee, I'll allow these questions. I think
Okay,
it's
because then
fair.
I would like to make a statement.
Yeah,
after
but
her.
let's
Go ahead.
hear what
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
have to say. And John has.
Township has an existing host agreement that has been not changed since, I'm forgetting, 93 maybe, I don't know. And it's on our website. If you go down on landfills, you can find the wording. They did say that if the zoning amendments, text amendments, and map changes is approved on the 21st, that they want to meet with Link, Treadwell, our solicitor, and go over revising the host agreement. So they're proposing to change that. And then there's also those maps, those conservation easements, covenants that I was speaking to. They have to break them, they have to break them. So they will be going through somehow working together. I voted no to this, so there's 5 council members and I'm the one man out, so.
Okay, so I guess my question then to follow up was, is the zoning change part of an overall agreement, or is it change it now and we'll talk later?
It's the latter.
Okay, well then,
They have no
I
clue.
understand where you're coming from.
Yeah,
I don't-
the red carpet's already rolled out for them through a lot of different ways,
Ms.
so,
Zirinsky.
right?
Sorry, I was just commenting.
No, just I'm familiar with the process. And to me, from my recollection was that the approvals were done together. You didn't negotiate afterwards, so I'm
Well, the reason,
interested.
no, let me just clear up. The zoning amendment and text change and the map has to be done at the 12/21 meeting. If it passes, then, in other words, they can't change the host agreement yet because they don't know how how the vote's gonna go down. Well, they do, but it hasn't officially happened yet, so.
But ideally, our leverage in the township is at this point in time where they do not
Correct.
have zoning.
That's why I raised the issue, that usually it's negotiated comprehensively as part of the host agreement. If in fact they would be granting the zoning before, or not as part of an entire comprehensive agreement, there's nothing binding on the applicant from just saying thank you very much, other than their word. Am I correct?
Well, the host agreement, yeah.
That's correct. So, I mean, that's one of our major issues, and I greatly appreciate your time tonight that we couldn't come in earlier meetings and get this on an agenda item, but we were thrown at this in October and November, and it's up for hearing already in December. So this is the Christmas rush, so to speak, to get this through without any forethought, without any investigation as to the real cost and how we can recover our economic, what we're losing economically.
And last night, we had a council meeting, and there was a proposed change to our existing zoning map and like, in commercial district areas here, there, and all over the township. We spent more time talking about that, and we're continuing it to another night, but yet 275 acres comes in for rezoning, and it's like, okay, let's set the date for the hearing. So.
Okay, well, thank you for answering.
Mr. Gafredo?
Are they having talks about running out of capacity in the existing landfill? Is that why they're trying to expand, or are they looking to take on more volume?
Yes, there is a capacity issue. I believe there's about 2 years left on their current permitted space to dump garbage. So there is a question there about whether or not we would like the Delaware-Lehigh River Canal to overlook the expansion of a garbage dump, or whether we would like to continue preserving our open space and capitalize on all of the efforts that you've spent decades doing.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So I emailed Linda the copy of the LVPC recommendation. Basically, the recommendation of the LVPC is by proxy our recommendation as a council. So it's not like we can go make another recommendation. But I did provide a copy. We talked about this at the November comprehensive meeting in the full commission. And obviously, the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission is not for it, and they wrote a very stern letter, I feel. But some of the zoning changes makes the landfill conditional use instead of special exception, and that means they wouldn't necessarily need a zoning hearing board for the landfill use. And also, the other thing that really bothered me was that it's going to take away open space. They will circumvent the requirement to have any open space in that area. And also, it really just circumvents the township's approval process. So they have no more control over the project. In addition to that, you're talking about everything that's going to happen on the Delaware and Lehigh River Trail, including whatever happens to the river with the wastewater management. So I think this is a really important issue. I know that these text amendments somehow are written sometimes by the developers themselves, and the implications of them have long-reaching, problematic repercussions. This needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form, and I plan on attending your hearing on the 21st.
And I just want to say that the zoning hearing board currently looks at this as a special exception, but they're taking that away and they're doing conditional use where council has to look at it. They're eliminating a site plan review because we have a DEP. And I know from my involvement with the landfill over all the years that our consultants have come up with, we worked in partnership with DEP reviewing the expansion plans and came up with a lot of important, like, protection aspects of it.
And this
So-
would take all of that.
and that'll take this all
opportunity
away. And the Reddington tract, particularly when we did our natural resource inventory, has species on there that we really can't print and say, hey, right here is this plant, because they're so valuable that we don't want to tell the world where they're at. So this land is very valuable, so they want to do in lieu of, like, they know they can't find that place someplace else to swap it, like wetlands or whatever. That's what I think of when so they're offering money. So again, they're dangling a carrot in front of us to, take the carrot and get the money instead of the land. So I'm sorry, we could go on and on.
What I'd like,
What are we going to do in the future about all these landfills that are going to need expanding? Because the Bethel landfill is not the only one that is going to have to be expanded in the next couple of years. And really, we should be asking ourselves the question about what we're doing about solid waste management as a whole. And I know that we can't circumvent taking in solid waste from
Out of state.
out of states because of the commerce law, right?
Interstate commerce.
Interstate commerce law. And so there are plans in New Jersey for Pennsylvania land, for Pennsylvania waste. And this can't just be for Northampton County to deal with. This also needs to be dealt with our state legislators as well. So I hope that they will be listening and that they will somehow get involved in this. Because Northampton County, we have so many landfills right now. I think we have like, what, 5?
Well, I know of 3. I don't know of 5. I know of
3? And it feels like they're always expanding or asking. So, never ending.
what I'd like,
I just hope that we all partner together and ask for that
That's right.
there be due diligence in this project, because like I said, it was proposed in October and it's already up for hearing, and I think there's been a lot of questions asked here. And I would be grateful if you present something to our council to help make sure that everybody is protected.
what I'd like to propose at this time is that we move on, and if anyone wants to bring this back up under new business later this evening, perhaps we could have a discussion at that point. And I'm sorry to have to cut you off.
No,
but
we
I
so
appreciate your understanding.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. Mr. McClure, do you have a report?
Good afternoon. Some of you may remember the movie We Bought a Zoo. That was a movie about a widower who was, dealing with his loss by buying a zoo that was dilapidated and trying to refurbish it and bring it back to functional life. And so, my friend and longtime colleague helped buy a big hole in the ground with millions and millions of gallons of water in it. And he now needs to devote full time to the thing that is his passion, which is diving. And Mr. Ken Kraft is going to leave the service of the county in the beginning of the new year. And I want to say that his director, Director Castora, has informed me that Mr. Kraft has been an exemplary Director of Public Safety Administration in Northampton County Prison and has performed those tasks assigned to him in the job description admirably. And I want to thank him for his service to us. I also want to announce that I'm going to be appointing Captain David Collins as his replacement. Captain Collins is here with us today. Captain Collins actually started with the county in the Juvenile Justice Center, and no, you're not going back there. No, when you see Jermaine, tell him no. And you're busy, but he's been in NCP as a corrections officer, as a corrections supervisor, and Captain Collins is currently Corrections Operations Administrator. So we are very honored to be appointing, he'll be leaving the career service and all those protections that gives an employee of the county to become a member of this administration. And we couldn't be more grateful to Mr. Kraft for his service and to Captain Collins for joining the team. So thank you very much, gentlemen. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Do we have any old business to discuss? Hearing and seeing none, let's move into new business. First, we have the consideration of contingency account transfers resolutions. First, we have the Center for Animal Health and Welfare. Mr. Cusick, will you introduce?
Yes, now therefore be it resolved by the Northampton County Council that the sum of $1,000 shall be transferred from the 2022 contingency account number 05000-76050 to the Center for Animal Health and Welfare.
Any discussion on this matter? Call for the vote.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Next, we have Williams Township Athletic Association. Mr. Cusick, introduce, please.
Now therefore be it resolved by the Northampton County Council that the sum of $1,000 shall be transferred from the 2022 contingency account number 05000-76050 to the Williams Township Athletic Association. And I'll just add that I spoke with the treasurer, and it was mentioned to me that it's going to cost $100 for kids to sign up for baseball and softball, and they held the line on that. I just thought that was a bit much, but I guess it's the going rate. But that's for in-house. That's not travel. I mean, that's playing at Robsville Park. So whatever we can do, they appreciate it. Thanks.
Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo. Yes. Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Next, we have Sites for Hope. Ms. Zirinsky, will you introduce?
Now therefore be it resolved by the Northampton County Council that the sum of $5,000 shall be transferred from the 2022 contingency account number 05000-76050 to Sites for Hope. So be it. And I just want to say that this, I met Deidre Snyder at the Northampton County Community Festival. And I thought that what they were doing was really something special to help people without sight, like have some independence and mobility. I don't think people really understand what it's like to lose their sight. My aunt went blind when she was, 60-some years old. My dad is blind in one eye, and my brother, Frank, just became blind in one eye. So it's something that runs in our family. And I think that the loss of independence is so critical to people's mental health, to their mobility, to their functioning in, our society. And I think that this service is so valuable. When Deidre told me that they had a hard time raising money this year, I really wanted council to help. So I hope you'll vote for this.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Miracle League of Northampton County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Northampton County Council that the sum of $5,000 shall be transferred from the 2022 contingency account to the Miracle League of Northampton County. I went to their event this fall where they were celebrating, and it's amazing what they've done out there, and the kids and the families that they serve. It's a beautiful thing. So my understanding was that they didn't ask for anything in any of the grants this year, so I'd like to play Santa and give them a little more at the end of the year. Is there any discussion on the matter? Call for the vote.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Next, we have Saucon Valley Community Center. I proposed it, but Kevin, do you want to introduce it?
Sure. Now, therefore be resolved by Northampton County Council that the sum of $5,000 shall be transferred from the 2022 contingency amount 05000-76050 to Saucon Valley Community Center. So introduced.
Thank you. Any discussion? Call for the vote.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Thank you. Next, we have the consideration of Administrative Code Article 13 contract resolutions. First, we have Design 9, Inc. Mr. Cusick, will you introduce the resolution?
Sure. Now therefore be it resolved that the Northampton County Council does hereby concur with the recommendation of the county executive as set forth in the attached documentation to approve a contract with Design 9, Inc. And the amount is $144,855 for a broadband feasibility study.
Is there any discussion regarding this resolution? Call for the vote. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can we get a description from the administration of what exactly a broadband feasibility study would look like?
Isn't that the sleep belt? Didn't we talk about that before?
I think so.
We've discussed this when we went over the ARP resolution. So our committee met, we received 6 bids, 3 of which were priced out of our budget. So our committee has went through the proposals from the 3 RFPs that fit our financial needs, and we interviewed this committee, this Design 9 firm rather, and the committee is recommending this company. They will come in, they're going to make a countywide assessment of what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, where the deficiencies are, and do all the mapping and figure out where we need to fill holes and gaps to make sure that we can provide broadband services to everybody in the county.
And we're talking wireless, like a Wi-Fi access point for everybody that's in a position where they don't have access to internet, correct?
Right, either where they're not served or underserved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it looks like it says 4 to 5 months, so I assume May or June you'll have a report to give back to us when,
Yeah, provided all goes timely once we get the agreement done with the procurement office.
it would be great to hear that, because
Yeah,
this is one of the top CCAP priorities. It's been discussed forever, and I know no matter how far we come, there's still serious gaps. So I'd be
Yes.
curious to hear what
Once,
need.
once the whole plan is done, we will absolutely have the Design 9 come in and do a presentation to council. And she's here tonight. I want to acknowledge Marie Bachman, who is the IT Services Director for the Bethlehem Area School District. I'm not the IT professional, so she has been wonderful to work with as my partner in crime and has been on this committee from the start. And so I just wanted to acknowledge all of her participation tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes, sir?
Just so I'm clear, Tina, this is the northern area that's really not getting capacity, correct? Mostly?
Yes and no. I mean, some of the inner cities, and that's why the Bethlehem School District is here, you know, we have to figure out the financial aspect of them. So our ISPs are saying that services are available, which may or may not be the case, which is part of the mission for us to find out, not just take their word for it. Some of it is financial, but some of the high speeds that they need aren't there as people are working from home, schooling from home, so the need has increased as well. So it's not just the rural areas right now.
So when we did it once before, when we handed out money from the government end of things.
For the vouchers.
It's an extension of this. It's an extension, or it just is to give us more area?
No, we're not doing any more vouchers. That was just through the whole COVID process. This is just to figure out the big picture resolution and what that looks
get
like for
everybody in
us.
the county. Okay.
Correct.
Call for the vote?
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Next, we have MPC Inc. Mr. Heckman, will you introduce the resolution?
Okay.
Last one.
Yeah, make sure I have the right one here. Is this it right here? Okay. Whereas Northampton County Administrative Code, Article 13, Procurement and Disposition of County Property, Section 13.15, Contracts and Agreements, C1, requires approval of county council for, quote, any contract exceeding $100,000 which was awarded during using the competitive bidding negotiation, I should say, negotiation after competitive sealed bidding and non-competitive negotiation source selection methods. For contracts with renewal clauses, the entire potential payout if all renewal clauses are exercised under the terms of the contract must be considered when determining if council approval is necessary. And whereas on November 22nd, 2022, the Northampton County Council received a request from the county executive for county council to adopt a resolution approving a contract in the amount based on estimated quantities in the result, in the proposal of $262,746.11 with NPC Incorporated for envelope printing services for the 2023-25 primary and general elections. Now therefore be it resolved that Northampton County Council does hereby concur with the recommendation of the county executive as set forth in the attached documentation to approve a contract with NPC Inc. So moved.
Thank you. Any discussion regarding this matter? Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like to acknowledge that we did add $600,000 from the Act 88 funds as part of a budget amendment. And I guess my question is, will those funds pay for this $262,000 contract?
As such, only in the first, only for the primaries of next year.
Okay, so a portion of that will pay this bill.
A portion of that will go to a portion of this. This is for the term of the contract over, I believe, 3 or 5 years for printing services, and it would only pay for, in the event of 5 years, it would only pay for 1/10 of that.
Okay, and then the other thing I had on here is estimated quantities. I don't know if you followed the Luzerne County mess. Will they provide us with sufficient quantity?
We provide them the quantities that we're looking for. We do not ask them to tell us what we're going to need. So we tell them based on our elections past as well as what our projections are. One of the things that helps us is the permanent lists right off the bat. We know how many people we will have to send a ballot out to. We do not have the same thing that they do because when we have, this printing here is only for mail-in and absentee ballots.
Okay.
We are not using a Scantron system, so we are not printing those ballots like they did. And we also, two of the things that were really attractive about them, one, we've already worked with them since Act 77 was put into place. But two, we do test decking. That is to say, before we place our order, we make sure that those ballots they send us will read in our machines, unlike in Luzerne. So we're ahead of that, and one of the things that's really attractive about them is they're only 4 hours drive from us if there is a need for them to deliver something directly to us, which they've had to do for our test deck so that we can be LNA tested and effectively know that our ballots will count before everyone votes on them, and then we find out that they don't.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote?
Mr. Heckman.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Lot.
Yes.
Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Adopted by a vote of 9-0.
Next, we have the consideration of overriding the county executive's budget amendment veto resolutions, line item vetoes numbers 1 through 4. Line item veto number 1, would someone please introduce?
I'll introduce.
Thank you.
Whereas on December 1st, 2022, the Northampton County Council adopted the 2023 Northampton County budget as amended, which was presented to the county executive on December 5th, 2022 for his consideration. And whereas on December 6th, 2022, the Northampton County executive returned a line item veto of the adopted 2023 budget as amended by Northampton County Council on December 1st, 2022 to County Council, indicating a veto of line, page 39, org 33-100, reducing the funds allotted to the hydroelectric plant. Now therefore be resolved by the Northampton County Council that the county executive's veto of the 2023 Northampton County budget as amended shall be overridden this 8th day of December 2022. The 2023 Northampton County budget shall be as adopted by the Northampton County Council at the meeting held December 1st, 2022.
Any discussion? I've been advised to remind people that a vote yes is to override and a vote no is to retain the executive's decision. Call for the vote.
Mr. Gofredo.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic.
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni.
Yes.
Mr. Heckman.
No.
Mr. Lot.
No.
Mr. Myers.
No.
Ms. Fargo Hefner.
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky.
No.
Fails by a vote of 5-4.
Next, we have line item veto number 2. Will someone introduce the resolution?
I introduce it. Whereas on December 1st, 2022, Northampton County Council adopted a 2023 Northampton County Budget Amendment, which presented to the county exec December 5 for his consideration. On December 6, 2022, Northampton County exec returned a line item veto of the adopted 2023 budget amended by Northampton County Council December 1st. The county council indicated a veto line item, page 41, org 31000, that the funds transferred that spring from reducing the funds allocated to the hydroelectric plant for redistribution elsewhere. Now therefore be resolved by Northampton County Council that the county exec's veto of 2023 county budget as amended shall be overridden this day, 8th of December 2022. The 2023 Northampton County budget shall be adopted by the Northampton County Council at the meeting held December 1st, 2022.
No, this was the second one. This is the first one. This is the second one. That's the one you read. I'm just making sure you read the right one.
I didn't read the right one?
No, we're just double checking. You did. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
Could we specify, because we have a few of these, like, for the same thing, from the hydroelectric plant, I forget though which one is applying to what money was taken out. So I'm voting to override specific things taken out. I just don't know what the specific things are I'm voting to override. So I think that would be helpful if we pointed out which, because I know there were specific items that money was used for. So it's sort of like a blind, for me, it's a blind vote on 4 different resolutions that say, put this back, put that back. But what am I putting back? For what?
Yeah. The first one was,
I don't have that information.
there's a second page on these that, at the bottom, there's a footnote. So on the second page, that first one that we just voted on, it seems that that was a transfer for money from the hydroelectric power plant that would go and fund student loan repayment.
Oh, the student loan, okay.
So this one that we're voting on now takes from the general fund and puts it towards community and economic development, and I imagine that that is the
Yeah.
baseball
I see
field.
it now. This
I
is
mean,
the
the
agenda.
Iron Pigs?
No.
What is it? This is the affordable housing one? No, that's the next one. This takes from the general
Perhaps.
fund and puts in community and economic development.
Is that open space?
Open space? That's the open space?
We didn't
It's not
take
the
any
open
money
space
from
one.
the general fund to put into community. The
That's the next one.
affordable housing came from the hydroelectric
Hydroelectric plant.
That's not what was in.
That's the next one.
Perhaps you could clarify? I mean, we don't have last week's information
The
in
next
front
one
of
says,
us. If these are all from the hydroelectric,
All of this money is money that was cut from the hydroelectric plant and placed otherwise in the general fund.
And that's what I'm trying to find.
Okay.
Yes, that's,
then I guess the question was raised that if we, wait, I'm confused. If we just did the first one, do the others, are they null and void?
yes,
we-
they're moot.
they're moot.
So then we can, please?
I think the individual.
Let me throw
line
myself
items.
under the bus. I need to tell council that I probably have created this procedural concern right now. Because if you recall, earlier in the year when we had a veto, there was concern about piecemealing and taking it out. We shall vote on each veto that has been given to us by the county executive, and there are 4.
Right, okay. Can I say one other thing? So I want to say in regards to farmland preservation, I talked with Maria Bensoni this week, and she told me that currently, we're going to be funded at about 3.3 because of the 50% match. But there's a sweet spot in which the county is able to get that 50% match. And we're at that right now with our 1.3. If we put more into that fund, it actually is going to reduce the amount that we get from the state and increase the amount that we put in from our own funding. She felt, when I was talking with her, that there are 13 farms that have signed up so far. They will weigh who is eligible. December 15th is the last day that somebody can submit their farm. And she said, if there is need for more money in farmland preservation, there are 10 municipalities with an EIT that if any of those farms are from them, they could also get funded from that. We could also get more money later. So I'm going to be voting, obviously, no on these vetoes because I don't want to defund the hydroelectro plant to put funds where they aren't necessary.
Tara, just to clarify, farmland preservation was taken out of the equation at the last budget meeting, so nothing here pertains to farmland preservation. Nothing.
Oh, okay. I was very concerned about that. I thought we put $400,000.
We did not.
Oh, that one failed. Okay, good. Sorry.
So,
I was very preoccupied by that this week.
thank you. Mr. Spadoni, do I need to proceed with all 4? And
You do.
okay, so then voting on what Mr. Myers read.
Mr. Myers?
No.
Mr. Kuzic?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo?
Yes.
Mr. Heckman?
No.
Mr. Lott?
No.
Ms. Fargo Hefner?
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Fails by a vote of 5 to 4.
Thank you. Next, we have line item veto number 3. Would someone please introduce?
Whereas December 1, 2022, Northampton County Council adopted the 2023 Northampton County budget as amended, which was presented to county exec on December 5, 2022, for its consideration. Whereas on December 6, 2022, Northampton County executive returned a line item veto for the adopted 2023 budget as amended by the Northampton County Council for December 1, 2022. County Council indicated a veto of the line item page 83 org 30306. the transfer of to affordable housing. Now therefore be resolved by Northampton County Council that county exec's veto to 2023 county budget amended shall be overridden this day, 8th day of December 2022. The 2023 Northampton County budget shall be as adopted by Northampton County Council at the meeting held December 1st.
Thank you. Is there any discussion regarding this matter? Call for the vote.
Mr. Myers?
No.
Mr. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo?
Yes.
Mr. Heckman?
No.
Mr. Lot?
No.
Ms. Fargo Hefner?
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic?
Yes.
Fails by a vote of 5 to 4.
Thanks. Will someone please introduce the last, number 4?
I'll go for it. On December 1, 2022, Northampton County Council adopted the 2023 Northampton County budget as amended, which was presented to Northampton County Exec on December 5, 2022 for his consideration. Whereas December 6, 2022, Northampton County Executive returned a line item veto of the adopted 2023 budget as amended by Northampton County Council on December 1, 2022 to County Council indicating a veto line, page 84, org 30800. The fund transfer to Human Resources for the creation of a student loan assistance plan. Now therefore be resolved by Northampton County Council, a veto of a 2023 county budget as amended shall be overridden this day, 8th day of December 2022. The 2023 Northampton County budget shall be adopted by Northampton County Council at the meeting on December 1, 2022.
Any discussion?
Question.
Yes.
The very first resolution we voted on said it was for the fund about giving loans, or doing that for students. And this says, employees, this says that it's also for giving it to students. So I'm confused.
What was the first ordinance was for the total amount taken from the hydroelectric plant to be given to affordable housing and the student loans.
Okay.
We did the general not taking of those monies. Now we're doing the two
Individual.
resolutions regarding affordable housing and student loans. So we just kind of broke it down. Because that was encompassing the whole thing, and this is just breaking it down into different parts.
I just wanted to be clear what I'm voting on.
Any other discussion or question? Call, yes.
Just one quick point. I do believe that having a student loan repayment program would incentivize new hires. Unemployment now is about 3%. We do struggle to hire people. I'm disappointed that this is something that we're not going to consider, but I would hope that if in fact we do see no progress on the hydroelectric power plant, that my good friend Mr. Heckman is true to his word that he will reconsider this next year. Thank you.
May I?
Yes.
True to my word, I said to you, it was, didn't really disagree with the plan. As I said to Ms. Zirinsky, I'd like to give these guys another year at the bat, up at the plate, and see if we get more progress than reasons why we can't. And yeah, I mean, I know we have a plan in the county now where people can get reimbursed. And I think we could probably, if we thought about it and put our heads together, could come up with something that doesn't necessarily favor someone who's a college degree, even though that's where we are. But maybe we can enhance our program in a way that once you're an employee, you don't get everything up front, but as you go year by year, you can maybe get more money towards credits which apply to work you're doing. And along those lines, I really would be willing, more than willing, to look at that as an employment enhancement. So I just want to be clear, I had to separate this from the hydroelectric, but I am open to a robust discussion in 2023.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Mr. Myers?
No.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Kuzic?
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Gofredo?
Yes.
Mr. Heckman?
No.
Mr. Lot?
No.
Ms. Fargo Hefner?
Yes.
Ms. Zirinsky?
No.
Fails by a vote of 5 to 4.
Is there any other new business to discuss? Mr. Heckman?
I just want to be clear, just so I'm clear when I walk out and go get my Christmas presents. We did pass the money for Bath and the money for, what was the other one? Oh, the Main Street.
6250.
So Bath and Main Street got their money.
Godfrey Daniels.
Well, yeah, but, okay, so I just wanted to be sure. And we ended the year with the pigs getting 50 from one fund balance, 50 from one and 50 from the other.
100,000 total.
The scamps got what they wanted. Okay, anyway, that's fine. I just wanted to be very clear. Thank you.
Is there any other new business to discuss? Are there any council committee reports to discuss? Council liaison reports. I have one. I attended the Mental Health Early Intervention Developmental Disabilities meeting. While our employees in some of those departments are almost at full complement by the end of the year, some of their vendors are being forced to close because they're not able to garner and retain employees, again, because of salary and other conditions, so that the resources they have to use for these constituents is dwindling. The other thing that was expressed, which is no surprise to anybody here, is that there's great concern over the lack of funding from the state and the funding not meeting the standard, and that there has been no revision of how much funding they're giving to these entities. So I let them know that the CCAP is joining with them and are planning legislative initiatives in the spring to try to work with the new legislature to make sure that we can get some of these funding caps raised, because it's ridiculous that the state's holding on to the money and not giving it out to county level. Hopefully with the new leadership, who used to be a county commissioner, maybe she will have some better insight than those that have come before her. And that's the only one that I have. Anyone else? County clerks, council clerks report.
The reorganizational meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 3rd at 3:30.
I know, you look at me. January 3rd at 3:30, huh?
And council solicitors report.
If you'll permit me 10 seconds to express my appreciation to our clerk and her staff. As a result of our robust discussions with the budget for the last couple of months, they're probably glad to get rid of me now that we're done. Thanks.
May I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
happy holidays, peace and love.
Happy holidays, folks.
Be safe. Yeah, 30.
You gave me money.
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday thing.
Monday's holiday. It's not,
All
it
right.
is the holiday.
That's